NFL sees more value in Aaron Rodgers than they do in Bill Belichick. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers has much left.
I don't
I
either.
I I watched that game. I saw Colin Cowherd has been like more deranged than normal, by the way. Like
Yeah, he's been kind of on one lately.
really weird, and he was saying how Aaron Rodgers was great the second half of the season without not joking.
Well, no,
Like, Aaron Rodgers sucked.
he was good in garbage time when games were over and he just kind of threw the ball willy-nilly. And when his season was officially over because they were out of the playoffs, all of a sudden he just funneled every target to Devontae Adams, and he looked kind of good. Because if you just look at the season total stats, he technically had a better year than Patrick Mahomes. Like, if you just look at the touchdowns, interceptions, yards, all that stuff, it was better than Patrick Mahomes this year. But nobody on planet Earth believes Aaron Rodgers is anywhere close to Patrick Mahomes. If you actually watch the football games, you know for a fact Aaron Rodgers was not that good this year.
But I will say this, though. Mahomes, the last 2 seasons, hasn't even been top 15 in stats.
No, he is not.
And it's people talk about the weapons. We all talk about it. But Patrick Mahomes has more weapons than the Patriots did for their Super Bowl winning teams. '07 obviously was different. But I watched Mahomes. He's had a passer rating of 93 and 92 the last 2 seasons, which is mediocre in 20 years ago, and it's borderline bad in today's NFL. If you're a great starting quarterback, you should be right around 100 at this stage. And I am fascinated to see how the Chiefs build around him this offseason, what they do. Obviously, we both think Kelsey's gone. But it's just so interesting that, like, there isn't a conversation about Mahomes' performance, even in the aftermath of that loss, which he was awful in.
I think it's just because, like, all regular season they were winning games, so they just kind of overlooked the bad numbers and didn't care because the Chiefs were, 15-1. And it's like, well, they're just finding ways to win, and Mahomes is doing what Mahomes does and winning late in games and not making a ton of mistakes, even though he threw a handful of interceptions this year. And so I think people just overlook it because it's part of the same reason why they were anointing the Chiefs the next great dynasty before they had even three-peated. Like, that's the whole reason. People just... I don't know what it is, this narrative that kind of just took over national media post Tom Brady, in that Patrick Mahomes is like the next coming of Christ, and nobody can ever say anything bad about Patrick Mahomes, and so that's just.
But isn't it interesting though? Like, I'm sitting here. If I was at ESPN today, to me, it's a fair question to ask what happened to Mahomes the last 2 regular seasons, minus the stat padding in the Super Bowl. He was borderline awful. Basically, I mean, he cost them that Super Bowl. You could say that with a straight face.
He did. Absolutely, he did.
And so you sit here and it's like, okay, so he was going to be coronated the GOAT, and now he's awful and mediocre in the regular season, and it's like, well, what's going to happen with Travis Kelce? It's just such a bizarre double standard.
You want to take, Curtis? You want a good hot take?
Yeah.
Mahomes is the most overrated quarterback in football. Changed my mind.
Hey! I would say Ken Laird would argue either Trevor Lawrence or Justin Herbert.
Yeah, but they're not even that overrated. Like, nobody has Justin Herbert as their number 1 quarterback.
So if you were to start today, I haven't thought about this at all, and you're building for the next 5 years, okay?
Yep.
4 to 5 years. Rank me the quarterbacks that you would have ahead of Patrick Mahomes.
Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. That's probably end of list. I'll be honest.
Not Burrow?
No, he just gets hurt too much. Like, to Mahomes' credit, the one thing Mahomes doesn't do is miss football games. He, plays every single week. So, yeah, I would probably do that. But, I think people overlook how much of a benefit it has been for Mahomes to play with Andy Reid for his entire career, and what Andy Reid has done for him with the offense, how easy it was when he first came in as quarterback and everything like that, and what he's taught him. People just kind of overlook that, and so, which is why I'm really curious to see what Mahomes' career will look like post Andy Reid. Just like Tom Brady had to do a career, post great defense 0-1, 2-3, or 3-4, and then post Randy Moss and Wes Welker, he had to kind of change himself multiple times throughout his career, and I'm kind of curious to see how that looks for Mahomes, because, I mean, since last 2 seasons has been, as you put it, kind of pedestrian. And I wouldn't even say kind of pedestrian, very pedestrian from Mahomes. And he's really had like two amazing seasons. It was that first season in 18 and then 2022 where he threw for 5,200 yards. Like those were insane seasons. The other seasons were good, but it was really just the Super Bowl wins that were the whole reason people were saying Mahomes was the best quarterback in football.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say Lamar and Josh over Patrick because of the head-to-head in the playoffs, but
my thing is, Curtis, if you put Josh Allen on that Chiefs team and gave him everything Patrick Mahomes had and just switch teams and give Patrick Mahomes Sean McDermott in that Bills team, do you think Mahomes still wins that football game?
Oh, no, without a doubt. If you flip quarterbacks in the AFC Championship, the Chiefs win with Josh Allen easily.
And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, Mahomes just has a better GM. He has a better head coach, a better support system. Like, it's just everything about the Chiefs is better than the Bills and the Ravens. And it's just and I think that's the major. If Lamar Jackson had Andy Reid, he would probably have won 3 straight MVPs.
Right. And JC316 in the Twitch chat is very enraged about Brady saying he had an 86.2 rating in his first Super Bowl. Yeah, did you know that the stats are very different in the early 2000s before they cultified the NFL with Bill Polian changing every rule to benefit receivers and on offense?
We've also told you a million times Tom Brady was a game manager in his first season as the quarterback of the New England Patriots.
And in his second year as a starter, third year in the NFL, you know what Tom Brady did? He led the NFL in touchdown passes with 24, which is basically what these guys get in the first half of the season. The game has changed. I would beg you, implore you, to pay attention. But either way, I'm glad you're listening and watching on Twitch. You can find us at WEEI. You can use the Odyssey app. And coming up next, we'll continue how we're going to build the Patriots this offseason. Where are you? 617-779-7937. And is Scheim's take that he would take Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen ahead of Mahomes dumber or better than his Montana sucks one? We'll get your thoughts.